All right, healthy debate at an undisclosed location in Hoboken with none other than Taylor Mathis.
Hello.
So nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you, Rico.
But I think we kind of crossed paths in a weird kind of way.
We sure did.
You definitely took a shot. Healthy debate, you definitely took a shot.
All right, from my perspective, I did not take a shot. Dave simply said in the video that the views were not coming in, and I've been getting a lot of traction with the Walking Bets videos. I was just saying the Walking Bets would get views.
Sure.
That's it.
Sure. Are there any particular reasons why you get the Walking Bets views?
I think, well, hey now. Now I know all the guys out there have a specific reason why they're watching the Walking Bets, 2 specific reasons, but the people that know me from like my original betting content, I've been in the betting space for years. I've been in sports media for years, and I actually have a winning percentage too. So
yeah, that's
I'm not terrible. I'm not terrible at betting. I know what I'm doing, and I spend a lot of time researching.
Right.
So.
Did you think that was the best way to take a shot to get in the realm, though? You know what I mean? Like,
you
why take that? Because I've been dealing with that forever. People are like, oh, they're taking a shot.
Let me explain. All right, I swear I was not taking a shot at you at all. Like, it was the furthest thing from that. For me, like I said, most people don't know, my background's in broadcast television. I worked in local sports, then I covered the NFL. I was a sideline reporter for the Suns. Then I moved into gambling. So I worked for Sports Grid out here in Jersey, and I was an on-air betting analyst. So I'm not coming out of nowhere just into the betting space, although a lot of these people think the Walking Bets is like my first thing. It's not. And I've wanted to work for Barstool for my entire life. Out of college, I used to send Dave emails of my reel all the time. So I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna comment on this video. I never thought anybody would see the comment. Like,
yeah, I mean,
I
it definitely was. You definitely kicked the man while he was down.
I didn't think anybody would see it. I'm sorry,
it's
Rico.
Okay.
It was unintentional. I was really just saying like the Walking Bets gets views.
Yeah, which I've now proven. Have you been watching that?
I have been watching yours. Yeah. I mean, I don't think that they rival mine that closely.
Okay.
But they're pretty good, and you know what? The engagement's been really good.
Yeah, I went back-to-back milli, so it worked.
You get better engagement.
So what was your favorite part of sports media?
Ooh, what's my favorite part? I think being in sports media, being yourself, being authentic, that's one of my favorite parts of being in the business. I feel like a lot of times when you're in buttoned up traditional broadcast media, you don't get to show your personality as much. So going on the content creation side, I've been able to show my personality a little bit more and not be as buttoned up or traditional.
Yeah, you have a little bit of a freedom. Like into social media. That makes sense.
Totally.
Yeah. What's been the worst part, or the positives and negatives of getting all these views?
Oh, okay. Positives. To start, I woke up that morning and I was like, what the heck happened? I live on the West Coast too, so I was
so you were delayed, right?
Yeah, I'm like, what the heck happened?
You were 3 hours behind.
I was like, the Walking Bets had been getting a lot of traction, but then they were getting a lot of traction. So I was like, what is going on? It's been really cool to see how much support I have. So many nice people, and honestly, I thought it was gonna be bad, but really it turned out to be like a blessing in disguise, weirdly. So I was excited about that. I would say the worst part though has probably been, there are definitely some haters, but I'm used to that. I've been in the media space for so long that it really doesn't bother me that much at all. I'm like, I don't know. You learn to have a thick skin.
What's been harder to deal with? The guys who are obviously watching you for 2 main reasons, or when you lose a bet and then dealing with those commenters of like you lost?
Ooh, I would say, okay, at first when I started doing the Walking Bets, I swear, I was just walking. I didn't think it was that big of a deal. And then all the guys were commenting on it, and I was getting pissed at first. And I was just like, oh my God, can they shut up about the fact that I am well endowed? And I was like, can they shut up? But then I've played into it now. I'm like, I don't care anymore. I make jokes about it. I go right along with the guys. But at first I will say I was really pissed off and I was annoyed. But I also come from that traditional background where like people don't really make those comments.
Yeah, the Midwest is way nicer than New York.
The Midwest
is
way nicer.
Yeah, way nicer.
I like grew up, I'm like, I try to be nice to everybody. So that's why I was also like, I promise it was not a shot at you. I'm like the least person to make a shot at somebody.
No, you're definitely pleasant. I give you that. Who has been some of the worst cappers on Twitter? If you've been around this space forever, like what's the worst things about it? Or everybody always says, oh, I was in from the beginning, it's bad now. Like,
yeah, so I will say, like, I fully admit I only got into betting 3.5 years ago now, so I was a newbie to it. I would say the worst people in capping are the older cappers that have been doing it forever and they don't like the way the gambling media and space is changing. They can't stand that there are Twitter bettors now. They can't stand that there's a gambling community. They want everything to stay the same and stay old school. I just went to this thing, Bet Bash in Vegas, and a lot of those older guys that are these pro handicappers were there. They have more, more bark than they do bite, because actually in person they were all super, super nice, and they're never gonna say shit to you.
Yeah, I think it's two different things,
they
though.
like to say things on the internet.
There's pro gamblers and there's guys looking to give picks, and there's also the entertainment side of it, which is what the people. Hey, I'm gonna gamble, and this is the entertainment side of it.
And I always say I look at myself as a content creator that's using gambling as an entertainment outlet.
Right.
It's not for I'm saying that I'm gonna make like $100,000 this year sports betting. That's not my shtick.
Right. So you went to a big school. You went to Iowa.
I did.
But you're not into college football, or you don't bet college football?
I'm into college football. I'm an Iowa alum member in Scottsdale, and I go, but Saturdays are my day to party with my friends.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna be honest. That's why I don't really bet college football, because I use that as like my day where I'm like, I'm gonna have fun. I'm gonna do my own thing, and I'm not gonna worry about like betting and putting in research and stuff like that. So I love college football, love college sports. I just don't bet them that much.
All right. And what's better to party with, brunch or a nighttime kind of thing?
Oh, so
or day drink? Like I think the older you get, the nighttime drinking kind of goes away.
Oh my God, you're so right.
You just kind of can't
love
hang.
a good date, a good darty is the way to go, especially in Arizona, because everything for us starts so early in the morning. So I usually head to Hi-Fi in Old Town, where it's an Iowa bar, and I get
Barstool,
there.
Scottsdale as well.
I love, the guys in me at Barstool Scottsdale are like this. They give me free merch. They give me free shit every time I go in there. We're best buds, all of them. They're great. Whoever hired those people, they're awesome at Barstool Scottsdale. But I go to Hi-Fi because it's the Iowa bar. We usually get there at like 9 in the morning, and then we're there all day, watch the game, and then usually go out around Old Town, and then I'm ready to go to bed by like 5.
Yeah,
so
I think you kind of
it works out better to have the day party for sure.
Sure. So what are your favorite sports to watch?
Oh, okay, so I grew up with baseball. That's how I got into sports.
Which is a dying sport.
It is, but you know what? I'm making baseball more fun, I think, right now online. I cap baseball, and I'm pretty good at it. So I'm like, baseball's how I got into sports. Diehard Cubs fan. My grandpa got me into baseball when I was 5. He taught me how to do a scorecard. That's why I started loving sports. And then I'm a huge NFL girl. Cowboys are my team. Blackhawks.
What do you think about Dak?
You know what I think about the Cowboys in general? That I'm a non-delusional Cowboys fan. It's going to be the same shit every year. Until we get McCarthy out of there, until Jerry Jones decides to do something else. But at the same time, I always think about Dak. He's not going to win us a Super Bowl, but who else are we going to get right now?
Yeah, it's a world where if you let Dak go, you want to live. And you guys got very lucky living in that world where you had Romo and then had Dak immediately. If you live in a world as a Giant fan, when you don't have a quarterback, it's a hell of a world to live in.
Exactly. So I'm like, I don't love Dak, but I also don't hate him, and I don't really know what else we would do. So we don't have a big alternative. Then I'm a Blackhawks fan for hockey, and then I'm a Suns fan now. Since moving out to Arizona, I've grown a huge fandom for the Suns, so love the NBA too.
I actually got to sit courtside at a Suns game. Who's the biggest celebrity interaction you've ever had?
Fun. Ooh. I used to sideline report for the Suns, so Devin Booker's up there.
Okay.
But celebrity interaction, oh God, I could tell you guys some crazy stories. I gotta think about this.
Well, you just give us one. The way you tease it, if you have a bunch, you gotta give one.
Oh my gosh, but why am I blanking on his name right now? He's won an Oscar for Wolf of Wall Street, not Leonardo DiCaprio.
Oh, Jonah Hill.
Jonah Hill. There we go.
When did you meet Jonah Hill?
in my DMs.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But it was more like, it was more.
I didn't know Jonah Hill was a big sports bettor.
Who knew? This was quite a few years ago, and then after that, he was like, Taylor, you can't talk about the fact that we hung out because his wife now or whatever was like pissed off that like I said it on some podcast like 5 years ago or something. So Jonah Hill I would say is definitely up there.
All right, that's gonna kill my stock with Jonah Hill. I actually like Jonah Hill.
Well, I like Jonah Hill too. He's a nice guy, but I don't know. That was kind of weird that he said that.
Yeah.
So.
That's crazy. And you're originally from Chicago?
Originally from a town called Sandwich, like a sandwich that you eat.
Okay.
Sandwich, Illinois, about an hour and 20 minutes outside of the city, but grew up with Chicago sports my entire life.
Getting into sports, just your grandfather or your brothers as well?
I don't have any brothers.
Oh, really?
It's just me and my younger sister.
Okay.
Mostly my dad and my grandpa, but my grandpa's a huge sports guy, so my papa is really who I credit in getting me into sports, and I didn't play any sports growing up either. So
That's a rarity.
I competitively cheered, but I'm sure there's going to be people that say that's not a sport out there.
No,
but
it's very, very difficult. My sister did that. It's very athletic.
Yes.
Can you give us something?
Thank you.
What do you?
Oh, what am I supposed to do?
I don't know.
Do you want to cheer?
How does it work? Yeah,
okay.
might as well.
Well, I'll give you guys a cheer from back in the day.
All right.
Here we go. ATTACK, Indians, attack.
I think Indians is problematic.
That was the sandwich Indians.
Yeah,
that's
exactly. But that works.
That was my mascot back in the day.
No, it's perfect.
That was I can't really do much with the stunting and everything, and I don't have people for that. But I also coach competitive cheer too now.
Oh,
as
nice.
an adult. Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's fun.
Would you rather lose a bet where you have no shot, like last night I gave out the Pirates, which I'm sure you saw, absolutely no shot, they lose 18-8, or you lose a bad beat?
I'd rather lose not a bad beat. Opposite. I'd rather lose something bad like that, like just a bet that I gave out that was dead in the water in like the first inning.
I agree.
I would rather have something like that. A bad beat is the absolute worst because you're just sitting there sweating it, and then when you lose it, you're like, fuck this, like that. It's done and over with now, and I wasted so much time.
Yeah. So what are your future plans now? Or I guess
That's a great question. I would like to know in the next couple of weeks. We'll see. Thankfully, with my content taking off, it's like brought up a lot of opportunities. So hoping something will be set in stone before the NFL season starts.
Sure. Speaking of NFL, Super Bowl sleeper.
Ooh, the Green Bay Packers.
Everybody's on the Green Bay Packers. I feel like it's the Green Bay Packers or the Houston Texans.
I'm not with the Texans. I think they're still a little young. I think they've got time. The Green Bay Packers, the momentum they had off the playoffs last year, I love hearing LaFleur and Jordan Love talk about the fact that they have no running back one and no wide receiver one because they think any of their guys could be one of those in that position. Makes me think that the team's got good chemistry in the locker room, and I'm pumped to see what they do. And the NFC North's going to be hard, though. Really
NFC North and I think the AFC North are two ones that if you had like a league pass to watch, that's what I would want to watch. I think it's the most compelling division.
I agree with you. I think the exact same thing. I think it'll be really interesting to see how things shape up. I'm also becoming like kind of a closeted Lions fan lately, but I feel like everybody in America is. We all love the Lions.
Isn't that like sacrilegious if you grew up in Chicago? Do you not root? Oh, you
I'm
root
not
for
a Bears
Dallas.
fan.
Why did you become for Dallas?
Okay, my dad's from Iowa originally.
Okay.
Hence why I went to the university. Part of the reason why I went to the University of Iowa. He grew up with no pro team. He became a fan of Troy Aikman, Emmitt Smith, and then he raised me a Cowboys fan.
Yeah, as long as you stick with the team all the way through, that makes sense.
I will, as much as I already was annoyed in our last preseason game, Dak throwing an interception, I was like, you got to be, is this what I'm in for this year? Because I'm scared if that's what I have to look forward to.
Do you catch a lot of shit in Chicago not rooting for the Bears?
Surprisingly, no. Not really, and I think that's because the Bears are so terrible every year. People are like, why would you want to be a Bears fan? This is high expectations this year for Caleb Williams and the Bears. So hopefully it turns out well for them.
Baseball. If I gave you the Yankees, the Astros, the Phillies, or the Dodgers against the field, who are you taking?
Oh, what do you?
So
who am I going to take to go to the World Series?
No, like if you had the option, I think we've seen. Let me phrase it to you this way better. For the last couple of years, we've had World Series sleepers.
Yes.
Like the Diamondbacks come in and make it there. Texas
Diamondbacks
Rangers
are winning
not.
the World Series this year.
What?
Diamondbacks are winning the World Series this year.
Okay, so there you go. So that answers the question. But it feels like a chalky type of year that the Yankees are loaded, the Orioles are loaded, even the Astros are playing really well, and then the Dodgers and Phillies are ahead of everybody else. So if it feels like one of those four is going to come through for the World Series.
I don't think so.
You think it's a sleeper again?
All in on the Diamondbacks. I follow Arizona sports really closely since I live out in Scottsdale.
I love Zach Gallen.
And
bet Zach Gallen every time he pitches.
I think that locker room of guys, they're used to Torey Lovello, their manager, really using the young guys to get into good spots. And I think it's really big. They just went from a 6-man rotation to a 5, and they got rid of Jordan Montgomery, who's a veteran pitcher, and Ryan Nelson is going to get that starting spot. There's just a lot of good young talent in Arizona, and I feel like when it's on the back half of a season, having younger arms, younger guys plays better well than having these older guys that might be stacked on these stacked teams. That's just my thought. I think the Diamondbacks are a sleeper for sure.
All right, well, it's been a pleasure. I think it's been a great walk. It's obviously, get out, get some air.
Yeah, get some sunshine.
Yeah, exactly. So it's been a pleasure. And we're going to bang out a walking bets right now.
Oh man, I'm sweating right now.
Yeah, it's cooking.